実際に日本語を話す人がこれを聞いたら、ウォークは鳩です。
Bati-Bati Book Club.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, those who lie betwixt or outside, to yet another episode of the Bati-Bati Book Club. I'm your host, the man without a rhyming title he could come up with off the top of his head, Squill, joined as always by Walk. How you doing, buddy?
This jabroni can't even rhyme, and his name is Squill. He should know his role and shut his candy mouth. And I'm doing good.
That is lovely to hear. This will be the first video on the channel in 2025, so I greet all 80 people who maybe listen to this. New videos coming soon. Listen to podcast. How's your new year going, bud?
Mine was great. I got to hang out with the family. A couple of my cousins might be listening to this podcast because I told them about it. Shouts out Alex and Caitlin.
Shout out.
Then yeah, I've just been hanging out. I started going to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Let's
My
fucking
New Year's
go.
resolution was doing that finally, and I've been having a great time. I've been choked out more times than I can count, which was about 5.
And the important
Um,
thing is to not get hard while that happens.
yes,
That's sort of the challenge.
that is the. You have such a way with words, buddy.
I know.
Yeah, yep. And also try not to get killed by the Midwestern wrestling boy who has all the brain damage in the world.
Yeah, because wrestling, as you've come to understand, is mostly shoving your head into people. And, there's a lot of
And
ways in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you shove your head or knee into people, that you can just force your way to
any
mount.
position. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those wrestlers are fucking annoying. They're too explosive. So I decided I would Art Jimerson Hoist Gracie their ass and just lay on top of this poor 100-pound boy.
There you go. That is the funny part, because the
Explosive on
most
top of the jabroni.
if in any wrestling room, the least skilled person in the room is the biggest wrestler, and the most skilled is like the tiny 120-pound guy.
Yeah. I owned his ass though. We went 5 minutes. I didn't submit him though, so I guess I didn't completely own him. But yeah.
And I'm also getting ready for a grappling competition at the end of the month.
Yay! That's awesome, buddy.
I've been drilling basically nothing but wrestling.
Hell yeah! You can annoy
and just
the shit out of
defending.
people.
Literally, I've just been drilling single legs, a few judo throws, and just avoiding people trying to pull a guillotine.
Dude, you can just annoy the shit out of people like me that only know BJJ, and I barely know BJJ.
Because almost every BJJ guy's reaction to me grabbing a single leg is to pull gilly.
Shit, 50% of the time it works all the time. I mean, come on now.
Exactly.
Shit's cool.
But we are back once again within the world of pro wrestling with a wrestler that we're doing a redux of. Would have been like the 4th or 5th episode.
Yeah.
But our formula sucked at that point.
Oh, dude, I didn't even know how to do notes. I was doing them like shit I kind of thought was cool, and I was supposed to be doing play-by-play. Ugh, it was rough. That was an hour-long episode. That's how you know it's bad.
And we've annihilated that, but we are back with that wrestler, and who is it?
That is one Shingo Takagi, also known as Shingo, depending on
all
the
caps
era.
when you spell the man name.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Come on now. He is a current member of LIJ. I've seen a little bit of his work over time, mostly from you, because you're a big Shingo head, as I've come to find.
Yeah, he's one of if I had to make a list of wrestlers I would consider like perfect, he'd be probably on there. And by perfect, I don't mean is the greatest of all time, but I mean really isn't just like jack of all trades, master of none, is basically master of all trades. In that, like, this guy will do bomb fest, he can high fly, he can do
Mm-hmm.
some mat work. That's probably his least good thing, but he's still gotten good
Yeah.
enough to where he can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, he's pretty much good at everything.
Yeah.
In a way that very few wrestlers are.
He's a super good formula wrestler, I've come to find, but it's the slight tweaks in his formula that makes him such a good wrestler.
And also his personality.
He has such a good personality. We'll get into it. But he has a good way of adapting his personality to like the dickometer. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
when he's like a baby face, it's like less dickish. But again, we'll get into it. Uh, but we should start off with our first match. If you don't have anything else to say about one,
I was just going to say that we consciously picked a few matches that will show Shingo in different roles. Because
yeah,
currently in New Japan, he sort of does the same thing every match, and it's perfect. Don't get me wrong.
mm-hmm.
But he has just become, because they decided, and we'll complain more about his booking later in New Japan, but they've decided that he will be the upper mid card workhorse, um, forever. And so he just wrestles guys like Ishii, Jeff Cobb, etc. over and over again, and it's
Which is
badass.
awesome,
Yeah,
but
he
it's
should be
also
holding the world
annoying.
title.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's won it once, and that was just for like a cup of coffee.
Hmm.
That's annoying because he could like have like a crazy run with the top belt.
Especially while they're still booking Naito as the leader of Lij and the best guy in Lij,
Dude,
when he is
Naito.
like the fourth best member of Lij in terms of in ring at this point.
Dude, Naito, take a fishing break, buddy. I love you and I appreciate your matches. I want you to last longer. you know?
Yeah, don't
That'd be-
die.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I love you for your lack of self-preservation, but grow some self-preservation. Come on, man.
So
But
we begin with our first match, which is none other than in 2007 versus Takeshi Morishima for the ROH World Title.
yeah, big fan of that Morishima guy. I'll talk about him a little more. But as we get to the walkouts, Shingo's repping the Dragon Crate. Jet. Whew.
Dragon
I'm getting
Gate.
back in. I'm getting back into it, folks. Um, the Dragon Gate little like flag, and he's showing it off crazy. He's in his singlet era at this point, which
Yeah,
is
so I just wanted to note, so people who are primarily familiar with him from his New Japan work, his origin story is pretty sick. He starts as in Dragon Gate, and he's trained by both like the general Dragon Gate dojo with like Animal Hamaguchi,
what a
but
freak.
also during that time period, Genitrio Tenryu is also hanging out there for whatever reason.
I mean, Tenryu's everywhere, right? He's kind of like Taka Michinoku, where he's been everywhere, but mostly in his own promotions.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, he sees Shingo as the beefcake that he is, and decides that he will train him to have the powers of Tenryu,
And it's
which is just insane coolness and aura.
absolutely. Shingo has a lot of Tenryuisms, which again we'll get into eventually. But like
One of which
he
being that rebound lariat,
yeah, aside from like moves, like personality wise, he even has some Tenryuisms where he's kind
looking
of
looking annoyed constantly.
yes and no. It's kind of like a like being like having like this sort of understated coolness. Like
Hmm.
even like Shingo's obviously like a shouty guy. He's good at riling up crowds. But he's kind of also like very good at like the small stuff as well, like
Hmm.
Tenryu was. Um, like the way he sells different moves and stuff like that. He does a good job of selling like the arm if it's been hit recently and stuff like that.
Which is a very funny example of he has a Dragon Gate USA match against Brian Danielson, in which he forgets which arm he's selling, like halfway through, and Danielson has to then start working the other arm.
Sometimes people forget stuff. It's heated. And if I'm going against like base god era Bryan Danielson, I'm wigging out. He's dropping like his forehead directly on my nuts, doing the
Yeah.
headbutt style. What a
But this
freak!
this run is in ROH is interesting because this is when they brought a bunch of Dragon Gate guys just to hang out.
Mhm.
And importantly, this is for the honor of Dragon Gate versus Noah. As the
Nope.
announcers note, this match has political implication. And
Yeah, I wrote
now
that
they're
down.
they're saying it's about like Noah versus Dragon Gate supremacy, I think.
It sounds
However,
like it's a
yeah.
Metal Gear game.
Yeah,
It's like they'll have if he doesn't defeat Morishima, the nukes will be launched
I said while we were watching it that if he doesn't defeat Morishima, Shinzo Abe will be assassinated. However, it didn't specify when
eventually.
that would happen. Yeah.
Uh, some mild spoilers for the match, but let's
Bang.
bang bang boom boom. The boys lock up, and kind of in an inverse of the usual Shingo match, you will see. Shingo is the one who's getting is doing the shoulder tackles and
Mhm.
getting those sold on.
Because
Uh,
Morishima is approximately 5 billion feet tall and pounds. And
like
it sort of occurred to me that this is almost like a modern version of like Jumbo versus Tenryu.
mm,
Because like Morishima has a lot of Jumboisms.
he does
And of
have a lot
course,
of Jimboism.
he's against this Tenryu clone. And something we were talking about is not clone, but like updated version, I mean.
Hmm.
And something we were talking about is how Morishima almost throws back to not the Kings Road guys who trained him, but like All Japan before the Four Pillars really took off, when you still have those sort of like Baba-ism things that are sort of like a weird mixture of southern style where it's slowly getting to where we recognize it. He's just like an older kind of worker.
And especially with his weapon of choice, which is the hip attack, which is a very Babaism like move. Because it's strange and doesn't make a lot of sense, like the
Mhm.
Baba brain chop. The Baba brain chop. That's fun to say.
Mhm.
Um, but it's just like all those weird moves that don't look like they would hurt, and especially wouldn't look like they hurt if it was like a Baba match or like
Mhm.
Baba era match. But like, there's always this kind of like weighty like realism to
Mhm.
how those moves are thrown. So it's just like, oh yeah, I could totally see like that hip attack ending the match. On multiple occasions, the Morishima Yokozuna drop
Mhm.
has ended matches because, of course, it has. Morishima's dropping his full body weight on your chest.
One of my
It's a
favorite things
beast.
about the opening shoulder tackle sequence is how it gets over the weight of Morishima. Because you're
Hmm.
talking about how he no sells it, he no sells it when he hits the ropes once and then hits him. But then Shingo runs the ropes 3 times after being whipped by Morishima, and only then, like you can imagine, like almost like video game logic of picking up speed by hitting the ropes 3 times. It's
Hmm.
only then that he's able to knock over Morishima.
Yeah, yeah. I that's a cute little detail. I didn't even like notice that.
Yeah, because he whips him off. He ducks under once, ducks under twice, and then hits the ropes for the third time, and then they go to the outside.
Shit's cool. I like it. Big fan. I like me a little bit of like video game logic in my wrestling. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
fun. And then immediately the boys start brawling outside with Shingo in control. I love Shingo's double chop. Shit's
It
so cool.
rules.
And it's always the loudest move ever. Just
And it's like he's met his perfect match in terms of like the brawling sequence here. Because Morishima, like as soon as he gets hit by that double chop, he's all right, my turn.
and it's like, oh fuck. It's so fucking sweet. Morishima is such a good like he's so scary like as a character because like he's agile, he's strong, He's like, he doesn't really care about rules. He's just this big bully, and he just beats up anybody with like these mean like hip attacks and stuff like that.
That's why
So
he
it's like,
reminds me of like heel Jumbo.
yeah, he has like this like weirdly all-rounder moveset that makes him, given his like natural body gifts, are like that's why he's the champ. It's because
Hmm.
it's not necessarily that he's like really well technique based. He's just a beast. He's a freak. Um, especially because his finisher is just what if you did a backdrop suplex wrong.
Yeah, the
Um,
Misawa Killer 9000.
yes. Let's see here. Shingo is really good at doing David versus Goliath as Goliath.
Yeah, he can do Goliath or David, which is the interesting thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you've wrestled them like 500,000 times in Dragon Gate Dojo, I mean,
Hmm.
because the only people that exist are like weird deathmatch guys. It's like the DDT roster, a horde of
Yeah,
twinks, and then just 5 hosses that
and
like
I also
intercycle.
want to note the state of Shingo's hair, which we can remark upon throughout the these 4 matches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here we're sort of, I said it's more so when we get into our next match, but he's sort of like, I said, the stunt double for David Bowie in Labyrinth. He's got
Yeah.
sort of that haircut going on.
Mm-hmm. It's got the swoop and stuff like that. Got the spray bottle in the jorts, in the shorts. Um, there's something like so lazy about Morishima's offense in this match.
Hmm.
Like how he does the big boss man like rope bounce. He just like slowly rolls off of him when he's done with it. When I forget what the ref's name is, but when he asks for him to get off of him, he
Hmm.
just like slowly lumbers off.
And then
I
it's accentuated by how much work Shingo does, because when he gets back into the ring, basically everything he does involves jumping, which is like putting over these small and has to create momentum. Because he does like a knee drop onto his head, and then he does like a jumping DDT,
that
which he has a great DDT,
he has an awesome DDT. I note it a lot.
followed by an elbow drop, which only gets a 2. So those 3 things chained together is only a 2 count.
And it's he's like a force of nature. It's like fighting like wind or like the earth. It's like, what am I supposed to do? This man is an avatar of pain. What?
But the cutoff, as you said, comes from like Shingo's going crazy. He's doing chop, double chop. He does like the cross chop things,
Mm-hmm.
like those
Um.
punches, and
Yeah.
then he hits the ropes for that rebound lariat, and bam, Morishima just hits him with his ass.
It's just oh fuck. It only takes one with Morishima. He's he's very much a great like heavyweight fighter. Um. Where you see in like heavyweight matches where it just takes like one glancing blow to just knock somebody out.
Hmm. Like friend
Um,
of the podcast, Ben Rothwell.
yeah, friend of the podcast, Ben Rothwell. Shouts out. I do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu at your place. You're very nice. Um, I know you're watching.
Yeah.
Um, but I also like Morishima's cartwheels.
Hmm.
Um, there's less like effective offense and more him being a dick.
Yeah.
It's very fun. Uh, I want to note during like the first real like bomb Shingo throws is a vertical suplex, and
Yes.
all of Chicago jumps in unison once Shingo lands that vertical suplex and just starts applauding. It's like he just hit a burning hammer, the amount
I
of
would
applause he's getting.
I would like to take now to note that whereas in other matches like the Danielson series, Morishima does a ton of help, and because like Danielson could not physically lift Morishima, but for
Mhm.
a lot of these he is sandbagging Shingo. But
Mhm.
in like it looks uncooperative, but then it ends up putting over how fucking freakishly strong that Shingo really is.
Shingo is doing like deadlifts picking up
Yeah.
Morishima. It is insane. And we'll get into the like later on in the match. There's a made in Japan I get the Made in Japan and Last of the Dragons mixed up, but Made in Japan, where he
Mhm.
like deadlifts up Morishima and just like holds him there for like 5 seconds. That's how you know it's a good Made in Japan, when he's like powering it up.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like Morishima did not help at all during that one. It's
Absolutely not.
just a strong 5'8" man.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's a sick DDT on the apron to a DVD on the outside, which is so sick. Um, in like no help for that DVD at all.
No.
It's like he moves like he's doing like a rebound on the
Mhm.
outside. It's insane. What a strong bastard.
Mhm.
They get back in the ring, and then Shingo does a backdrop driver and spikes Morishima right on his head.
Yep.
Again, doing it like a deadlift, just
Oh
picking
yeah,
it.
you can tell when Morishima jumps to help someone with it, and he is not jumping.
No, not at all. And he's just. I wonder if they had like talked to each other backstage and it was just like Shingo was just like, "Hey, do not help me at all."
There's also a decent chance that there is some weird Dragon Gate Noah beef going on, and he is sandbagging him as a point of spite.
You might be right, and it makes it even more impressive how
Mhm.
Shingo is able to just force him. Yep, you're taking this bump now, bastard.
Yeah. It doesn't diminish the match to me either way. It's just like it's funny
No,
how layered that is.
it kind of rocks. I think it gives Shingo more of a like babyface fire, if you will.
Mhm.
Massive big boot from Morishima. Just Morishima does so little in this match, and
Yeah.
it's so cool that and it's like, and he's like they're always equal at all times.
Mhm.
It's so sick. Superplex. Shingo and all of Chicago yet again jumps up in unison, and then Morishima gets up and no sells it. There's kind of a sequence in every single Shingo match where they just start throwing bombs in sequence.
Mhm.
Um, in this case, it's a lariat, Last of the Dragons, then a kick out, a sliding lariat kick out. Notice how all of these are Shingo moves.
Mhm.
Um, I note here that the best part about a Shingo title match is that he always makes you bite on those false counts. Like
Yeah.
he could win at any point. Um, a Uranagi from Morishima leads to a no sell from Shingo, who
Mhm.
hits a lariat, who kicks out. It's so sick. And
And
then
he loves the rebound lariats.
rebound lariats are so sick.
And he does them it's really cute because he does them exactly like how Tenryu does them.
Mm-hmm.
Where I always see when like Tenryu does it, especially like in like 80s All Japan, it's almost like he just happens to have landed on the ropes at this exact time, and it's like in that split second he's like, oh shit, I can do my lariat.
I can do my thing, my move. It's so sick,
Hmm.
so good. Morishima does the Yokozuna drop. Is there another name for that move?
I just sitting on them. I don't know.
A sit out. Just,
Yeah.
just he does a sit out. Shingo manages to kick out. Sweet lariat. Um, Shingo does a Shingo's very good at escaping other people's finishers.
Hmm. Are we gonna talk about that? My favorite reversal from this match.
You go ahead.
So it looks like he's about to do that. We'll just call it a sit out.
Mhm.
Um, and Shingo, they're struggling and struggling, and Shingo just sort of almost looks like when a video game character just sort of glitches out of a move or something, like he had
Mhm.
iframes in the Dark Souls game, and
Yeah.
is able to escape it and then hit the ropes and hit a lariat, and it's just it sounds simple, but it's just so smooth. I can't really describe it. You just have to watch the match here for yourself.
He does that a lot. He does that
Hmm.
in another match we'll talk about later. So cool. So sweet. And The match wraps up with Morishima hitting the backdrop driver. A quick note: Morishima came out with a T-shirt that said "backdrop." Makes you think what his finisher is. Anyways, his backdrop driver finishes the match, and it's a very good short match. Just a short little 20-minute sprint. Mostly Shingo sprinting, but
It's like 12 minutes.
it's like 12 minutes. Yeah, it's still short little match. Very good.
It's one of those weird. Oh, sorry, 15. It's one of those weird times though that they did a bunch of times, especially during Morishima's range, where his title defense is in the middle of the card.
That is strange.
Do you know what the main event of the show was?
Oh no, what is it?
Colt Cabana versus Adam Pearce.
Ah!
Yeah.
Should we do some insider baseball?
No, I think it's better to leave him like that.
Okay.
No comment.
No comment. Let's see here. Next up on the unless you have any more finishing notes.
No, it ensured the assassination of Shinzo Abe, and quite frankly, I think Morishima should be held responsible.
Thanks, Morishima. You dick.
Unless in case it was a good assassination, in which case, thank you, Takeshi Morishima.
Thank you, Takeshi Morishima. Anyways, we're
going back to Dragon Gate, baby.
Dragon Gate, one of my favorite DDT like very gay promotions.
So Dragon Gate, as it was explained to me by my coach, is that Dragon Gate at one point, I don't know how early in its development, just decided to cater to homosexuals. And it's one of those things that sounds sort of like derogatory and crass. But I mean, A, both of us are bi, so I don't mean it that way. But B, go look at the Dragon Gate roster back
like
then
right now
to now, and then go look if you're not familiar with BB Hulk, his opponent in this thing, look at him. He's a beautiful man wearing a choker.
It's fucking absurd.
And then pull up a Dragon Gate show and look at and listen to the crowd, or take a look, and it's like young women and gay men.
I note during this match, there's just a wailing choir in the background, which is that is how you know you're listening to some peak, is when you hear a wailing choir of women. And let's get into the match.
This is a hair versus hair match at Dragon Gate Kobe Pro Wrestling Festival 2010. And somewhat clumsily, it is not the main event of the show. Now, the title match main events the show, but this is just so much more heated than that.
It's so weird that Shingo keeps on getting put in the weirdest spots.
That
seems like it's an issue across all promotions that he's in. He's never a main eventer. I thought this was the main event.
I mean, he was a main eventer in he held the Dragon Gate title like 4 times. But they've just decided that this blood feud is less important than Masato Yoshino versus Yamato.
Awesome.
Which Yamato's good. I'm not as familiar with Yoshino, but like I'm sure they're both very good. But like, this is two men with beautiful hair. His hair is on the line.
This is some serious shit. I mean, like,
how would you like to describe BB Hulk?
Got to be top 10, top 100 twink wrestlers of all time.
He's a very good-looking man.
He very much has like an idol thing going on.
It's like the first time I've seen a male wrestler like that, but like so much like that.
Yeah, I think DDT's also. I think they added like at like the end of the year during their big DDT super dramatic dream team party or whatever they call it. I don't think it's that. Where I think there's just like a boy band that's in the middle of their card that just that just does like a little song and dance at the start, like the Nitro Girls. Shit rocks. I love pro wrestling. Yeah, BB Hulk, top 10, top 100 twink wrestler.
He also like for a lot of his matches, I don't think in this one, but he comes out like wearing lipstick. That's like sort of where
Yeah.
we're at.
Well, okay. That's depending on the era of BB Hulk. BB Hulk has this weird character thing where like he'll hop from like normal idol guy
Mm-hmm.
to like evil villain, depending on how hurt he is. He's kind of like Matt Hardy in that way.
Well, it's almost like the normal version of him is very much like Shawn Michaels if he was an idol, right? Like that's the
Mhm.
presentation. And then then he goes into full gay supervillain.
Mhm. Talking about cousin brother Nero and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Hardy episode coming soon.
But what's your first note for the actual match?
All right. So, they start off with the Shingo gets shoulder tackled spot,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. Oh, actually, before that, the boys they run straight out of the gate. There is some clear bad blood between these two gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because Shingo is the head of the top heel unit at this point, named Kamikaze.
hey, who's in Kamikaze?
So a collection of people, but at one point the USA branch had none other than John Moxley during this time period.
That's right, folks. Gay ass Dragon Gate had our main man, the AEW World Champion currently, John
Yeah.
Moxley.
Yeah, and this is like just before he signs with the Fed, like Scene Kid John Moxley.
Got to be one of my favorite forms of John Moxley.
Yeah. And
Um,
it fits. It fits.
it absolutely fits. I mean, look up a picture of Switchblade Conspiracy era John
Yeah.
Moxley. You've yeah. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and also I mean Yamato and Shingo are the two top guys, but also legendary Akira Tozawa is also in that faction.
Man, it's so sad that he doesn't wrestle anymore. He had
That
such a
is
good
sad.
career ahead of him.
Before he disappeared.
Mm-hmm. He got lost in America. Anyways, it's a super cool reversal. Super good reversal out of the Last of the Dragons. A weird thing about the Last of the Dragons, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
It goes from like a normal like burning hammer setup to a sit out pile driver, into a wrist clutch variation.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes it more powerful. That's how wrist
Yeah. It makes it much more
clutch work. I'm
powerful.
confused. That's why the burning
Mm-hmm.
hammer needed it.
Yeah.
A good wrist clutch.
Totally not to protect the guy's brain, to make it more harmful.
What are you, a fucking mark? Anyways,
Shingo is so good at being a dick here, like immediately.
he is very good at being a dick this whole match. He is like shoving his boot into BB's face. He's like constantly tuning up the band to be like, "Hey, I'm beating up your boy," and I mean, it's Shingo Takagi, so everybody's just like, "Yeah," but like, it's everybody gets like super hyped up whenever he like does the hi 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 hi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm again because it's Shingo. It's the boy. Come
And
on now.
there's two truths that become evident within like the first third of this match. Number one, Shingo has the best job in the world, where he gets to mostly no sell and
Mm-hmm.
just be the base in all these Dragon Gate matches, where he just gets to no sell all these cruiserweights flipping at him. He gets to like just fling them around. Like at one point, he just gorilla presses him in the air because he can. Um, and number two, BB Hulk is almost too athletic. Where he will just do moves that are other people's finishers in transition, and there's a reason
Constantly,
his knees don't work anymore.
it's kind of he's kind of like Chris Benoit in that way, where you
Hmm.
are watching one of his matches and you are like, "Oh, that's why his body has exploded."
Yeah,
Similar to Matt Hardy. Um,
his kicks are great, but his clinch knees suck.
he has shouts out Roman Reigns for inventing the cravat. He has
Hmm.
this really shitty like in the ropes cravat knees that is just
Yeah,
like Shingo didn't feel any of that.
it's like,
Which
dude, literally, instead of trying to mime it like it's going to the head, just knee him in the chest so it looks good.
It looks good, and you're not gonna kill him. Let's see
Shingo
here.
does just start straight up no-selling those knees at one point, which I enjoy, and he sort of hulks up.
I respect that. That's the sign of a good worker right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Hulk has a really good drop kick
Yes, he
and
does.
and shooting star.
Which he just will pop out of nowhere, standing.
He just is like ruining the business constantly. Come on now.
And by the business,
Paul
we mean
London,
his knees.
the business of his knees. Um, Shingo does this awesome back toss to BB, where it's kind of like how Samoa Joe does his walk off.
Yes. He does,
Um,
because he does literally just walk away from it.
and BB's like midair screaming and falls flat on his face. It's so good. Shingo runs to the outside and like starts charging towards the ring post with BB. And BB Hulk sells it like a champ. He like throws his whole body weight into the post.
He eats
And
like 3 bumps within 1 bump.
it's so cool. Big ups. And then immediately after that, as if that wasn't bad enough, Shingo just power bombs him on the outside on the concrete. It's like, what's wrong with you? By joint death, we didn't mean this.
Yeah.
Um.
Back in the
Shingo
ring, Shingo shows him what a real knee looks like.
just fucking rails him and then does a DDT. He fucking rails him, but not in that way.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Sweet DDT. There's a rope assisted knee drop that is pretty sweet. Shingo is just really good at riling up crowds.
Yeah.
No matter his allegiance.
Because about like each way, like a third of the way, then 2/3, then at the very end, because this sort of has like a not a full like 3-act structure, but like they have the opening bomb throwing, middle bomb throwing, final bomb throwing. But whenever they get them riled up, that's when you get the high pitched shriek.
Yeah, that's when it gets
And
at least
the
loudest.
first high pitched shrieking is aforementioned when he gets tossed into the ring post.
Immediately power bombed. What a fucking freak. Yeah. There's like 2 different main like flat high pitched noises. It's the wailing, kind of like a Dark Souls game where there's just sadness coming out of every part of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's shit's cool.
Yeah.
And then there's how would you describe the Hulk smash? It's like a Emerald Flosion low angle,
Yeah, I
right?
said a low angle Emerald Flosion.
I think it's supposed to be also like a Tombstone Slam, a rare.
Something.
I don't know. I like the idea of it being a low angle Emerald Flosion.
Mm-hmm. And I
Um,
really like throughout this sequence, whenever Shingo wants to do like a cutoff, it's almost like he's become Morishima in that previous match, where like BB Hulk will hit him with like a crazy like 4-kick combo or something, and then Shingo will just slap him, and then it completely kills his momentum. It's wild.
it's like the universe is repaying him for that Morishima match.
Mm-hmm.
It's
From the
beautiful.
political implications.
He fucking killed Shinzo Abe. Good or bad, up, down, up, down, up, down. Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
The Hulk smash on the apron.
Mm-hmm.
BB Hulk then does a drop kick to kick out Shingo, and then does an outside plancha and lands on his feet and starts screaming with joy. I love a good plancha land on feet spot. The best one is Homicide. It's shocking. Homicide does a plancha onto a dude and then runs over to the announce desk and gives Don West the biggest high five ever.
Mm-hmm.
Don West got it. R.I.P. the goat. But yeah, the big fan of that plancha. Oh, and then immediately after, BB throws Shingo into the ring and then does a rock bottom into shooting star press.
Yeah, just just fuck you.
What is he just does everybody's finisher. He does a stunner, What a freak. BB Hulk is I described him as BB Hulk is like if Tanahashi ate less and watched more Ricochet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Springboard capo kick from BB Hulk. Insane. What an athlete. Just
Mm-hmm.
just what an athlete that has no knees anymore. Um then Shingo rails him with a top rope lariat. And then Shingo does an unforgivable sin,
Mm-hmm.
which is removing BB Hulk's collar.
Yeah. Which is a hilarious thing to do.
It's so petty. It is absurdly petty. And then Shingo does a snake eyes on the apron on the outside.
Yeah.
Jesus. And then a backdrop suplex attempt on the outside. Uh, they're like standing on the apron, and then I think it's Shingo doing the backdrop suplex.
Correct.
And then BB reverses it and makes it 10 times worse by landing directly on his ankles, and I'm surprised he didn't just break both his feet.
Yeah, that one looks particularly fucked up.
Mm-hmm. They eventually get back to the ring, and Shingo does a buckle bomb
Yeah.
and then brings it back into a face buster power
Yeah.
bomb. It's like holy shit. It's like all the bombs I could ever want. I feel overwhelmed. It's like I didn't even know something like this could exist.
Something that just occurred to me, by the way,
Hmm.
Shingo in this match is only 28, and in that previous match, he was only 25.
He was what?
Yeah.
That is this guy might just be the goat.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And he has this mind immediately.
Yeah, and it's
Holy
fascinating because it's the
shit.
same thing of how when you think about because he and Bryan Danielson, he's a little bit younger than Danielson, but you think about how like when Danielson is doing all those ROH classics, he's like 28.
Mm-hmm. They do not make indie wrestlers like they used to, man. Insane. No disrespect to the current indie wrestlers though.
Oh,
Y'all
I
are
think they
great.
kind of. I mean, like if you look at like a Daniel Garcia, he is almost he's not 2008 Dragon levels of good, but
He's
he's
really
young and he's
good.
very good. Yeah,
We love Daniel Garcia. We
Mhm.
love a bunch of up and coming boys, especially
Adam
Daniel
Priest.
Garcia. We love Adam Priest. Adam Priest, you should be on TV already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, well, the future is bright,
Yes,
but also, like, Shingo Takagi was 28. What is your bum ass doing?
I got 8 years.
Um, you got 8 years. Come on, man. You gotta hurry
Mm-hmm.
up. I've got 10. Um, Sweet capo kick. When they get back in there's the suplex trading sequence is insane. They just drop each other on their head like 8 times, and then BB Hulk just thinks, what can else? Ski whoa! Technical difficulties came in. Um, I'm sorry, I was running across the whole house. I had to get dog animals. That wasn't the problem though. Um, the
Craig
future is
died.
Craig died. Long live Craig, because he is
Mm-hmm.
alive again through magic and
Inshallah.
resuscitation. Uh, yeah, what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Where were we? Doesn't
Big
matter.
kick from BB Hulk.
Capo kick. Shit's pretty cool. He was trying to fill up time by giving more brain damage to Shingo. And then Shingo breaks it up by doing the mean slap you were mentioning before.
Yes, just whack.
And just a big whack, and then he gets his shit in. And then Baby Hulk does this sweet axe kick.
Oh yeah, and it
Um,
looks dangerous.
Baby Hulk is taking liberties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then let's see. Shingo then begins to beat the shit out of BB for his insolence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the person who is doing commentary
Mm-hmm.
it just starts sounding like they're about to throw up.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty good.
Yep.
Which is pretty funny. And then a Made in Japan gets rocked out. Kick out at 1. Oh, uh, excuse me. I know how to order things. BB Hulk does a Made in Japan. Kick out from Shingo immediately. Don't use my shit, kid.
Mm-hmm.
DVD from Running the Ropes Based God. Top rope Hulk smash is pretty sweet. It is desperate to keep each other's hair.
Yeah.
Phoenix Splash Dodge. And then I get reminded to myself, oh yeah, he was traded by Hayabusa. That
Mm-hmm.
explains why he wrestles the way he does.
Yeah.
Um, then
Sort
there's
of the Dead by 45 wrestling school.
Superplex, then Hulk Smash combo. Kick out at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Made in Japan kick out. Lariat. Last of the Dragons. Then the match gets wrapped up. And
Mm-hmm.
then the beautiful boy BB must be shed of his beautiful hair.
And Shingo does a decent job as a barber.
Mm-hmm. Dude is doing a good job of giving him an even bald. And
Yeah.
not just giving him like the Brahmin Brothers skullet.
And what I appreciate is staying heelish. After he's done, he literally just he bounces his head off the fucking mat.
He's such a dick.
It's so evil.
He's such a dick. Yeah,
And
that
like
is.
you're talking about how the crowd is shrieking. They just get dead silent while he's shaving his head.
Yeah, because they're all crying. They're all so sad. BB Hulk just lost all of his hair. That might be the reason why it's not the last match, now that I'm thinking about it, because nobody wants to leave the venue crying.
That's true. That's true. Yamato, the evil champ, does the job in the last match.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
And
you can't
everybody's
leave
like,
them like that.
yay! Which is strange that when I was at All Out, the way that Tony Khan booked after Bryan Danielson gets betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just Hangman.
Yeah,
Hangman versus Swerve. That'll get the crowd feeling better.
I felt better.
Dude, you should have been there live. Holy shit! I saw Hangman Adam Page kill Swerve Strickland. It's
Well, in the
insane.
same way that I maintain that for the entire Adam Cole feud, MJF has been the babyface,
Mhm.
I think Hangman, anything's justified.
No, Hangman is the good guy in that entire scenario. He's
Mm-hmm.
not like. Sometimes he's not. Like
He
no,
was put
he's
into a
that.
self-defense situation.
He was put in a self-defense situation, and he did have to shoot through as many people as possible to defeat
Mm-hmm.
Swerve Strickland, who
Again
is
and again and
also like
again.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
And so on.
Any
So
closing thoughts on this match, though?
shit rocks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun match. Um, it is a very fun 30-minute bomb fest.
Yeah.
Up
Now we're
next,
gonna go to one of your favorite wrestlers.
that's the fucking goat. A recent discovery on my part.
Mm-hmm.
One Shuji Ishikawa.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit, this guy is cool.
So this comes from a period of Shingo's career as he's sort of leaving Dragon Gate and about to go into the unknown by signing with New Japan. He goes on a world tour. One of these examples is doing a Champions Carnival in all Japan, but he also does the Battle of Los Angeles and pops up in a bunch of different places. And Bola, he wrestled Ilya Dragunov and Walter on the same night, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a freak.
Yeah. Um, but another tournament, which it's crazy to do that many tournaments in 1 year, but one of the tournaments he does is go to the All Japan Champion Carnival.
Mm-hmm. And he faces, I think this is his first match of the Champion Carnival, now that I'm thinking about it.
I am fact checking.
Um,
Do 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 do
do,
do
do,
do.
do, do. Oh, we're not doing it together anymore? Okay.
No, we're not. Go ahead.
I see how it is. Do, 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 do,
Nope.
do. Oh.
His first
Yeah.
match was against Kento Miyahara.
whatever. He doesn't count. Who's heard of that jabroni? Anyways, Shuji Ishikawa.
No, it's actually his last match of the group stage.
Well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
Yeah, I guess you will.
Yeah. Shuji Ishikawa, just a fucking beast. The best way I could describe him using like our sphere terms is that he's
Mhm.
kind of like a modern version of Akira Taue.
Yeah,
Not necessarily in like moveset, but in a like philosophy way and how he
yeah.
wrestles. Um,
He's gonna have this basically, he and Akira Taue are not versatile, but that's not a, me insulting
impediment.
them.
No,
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna go out and they're gonna have roughly the same match in terms of output every time, and it's
but
sort of
when
up to
that
you to react to them.
but when that match is a Shuji Ishikawa match every single time, that dude had one of the best matches of all time between against him and Daisuke Sekimoto. That match is
Mhm,
beast, and he's just he's much like Akira Taue. He's a very smart giant, which is
mhm.
rare, and it's sad that it's rare. Um, I'm sorry, I just have the image of Big Show in a diaper and New Year's
Mhm.
Day baby.
So,
Anyways,
we're gonna talk about now,
Baby New Year.
Shingo, his hair is actually very nice now. He's going to his sort of faux hawk thing, where he's got
Mhm.
the shaved sides, he's got sort of the mohawk, and he's colored the back of his hair for this sort of mullet mohawk thing.
The Malot Hawk, if you will.
Mhm. And this begins, it's crazy the size difference, because Shingo normally looks like one of the bigger guys in a
Mhm.
Japanese ring, but Shuji Ishikawa is just huge.
He is a when Shingo is sitting down, you can kind of get a better scale of the size difference.
Mhm.
Like Shuji Ishikawa's shin is as big as his Shingo's chest.
Yeah.
It is insane. And like the fact that Shingo is able to like in all of these matches he looks competitive
Mhm.
um is a miracle. Um but yeah, it's very awesome. Uh you the boys lock up immediately and the camera angle shows off the insane battle scars that Ishikawa has, making
Yeah.
him really sell that he's like an insane like violent warrior. For people that don't know Shuji Ishikawa, he was a big Japan guy.
Mhm.
In that period where they were producing like steroid factories,
Yeah.
allegedly. Um,
Allegedly. Allegedly, definitely.
allegedly, definitely. Guys like Yuji Hino,
Mhm.
Daisuke Sekimoto was wrestling in there, the strong BJ. Violent Giants, I think that's the tag he's in.
Yes.
Yeah, Violent Giants. Dudes just shaped like that. That was the time period he came from. Kind of like the freak steroid strong style is the best way to describe their house style at the time. Plus,
Mhm.
obviously, like dudes like Abdullah Kobayashi, so on and so forth. Shuji Ishikawa has like Jun Kasai back,
Yeah.
and it looks awesome.
As
Uh,
this, begins, I love how little effort it looks like Shuji Ishikawa was putting in.
it's but it's awesome because of the way that Shingo sells it.
And
Uh,
Shingo
Shi
does shoulder tackles, but he's so short that he's tackling Shuji Ishikawa's belly.
yeah, and it's like it looks like he's running into a head like a brick wall head first.
And
It's
it's
in
great how, they start training, Shingo does his double chops, like, immediately.
mhm
And then
because
once again, like the Morishima match, the only way he's able to actually hit a shoulder tackle that makes him take a bump is he does that thing where the other guy starts running and then you run straight after them and like cut
mhm
them off against the ropes, and then Shingo hits the ropes a second time and that shoulder tackle is able to drop him, which once again gets that like video game logic that he has to like rev himself up in order to drop him.
yeah. It's super cool. I love that detail. I didn't even realize that was a thing. Um, and similar to when like Shingo is playing the big boy, Ishikawa's just able to swat him out like immediately.
Mhm.
Ishikawa has like these brutal forearms and elbows. Just he batters Shingo this whole match with them.
My favorite move he does on the outside is just squeezing Shingo's head against the ring post. He doesn't
It's
even throw him against the ring post. He just shoves his head against it and
it's
presses it into it.
what's awesome about it is that he's technically doing like smart ring work.
Yeah.
Um, because like before that, Shuji Ishikawa just picks him up and hits him with a tombstone,
Mhm.
and then he's just like, "Oh shit, should just like work the neck this whole match."
And there's another similarly brilliant move he does because remember this is a tournament match.
Mhm.
Count out is a very like easy way to get a win because he just needs points. Is he just tosses him into some barricades,
Mhm.
um, and then just walks back into the ring because he's like, I want to do as little work as I need to in order to get these points.
He's so fucking smart. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I the way I describe that is that Ishikawa was doing like a crossface with the ring post.
Sure.
It's super sweet. Um, let's see here. Is great at selling like taking damage.
Yeah.
Um, which shows that like he doesn't know sell because he doesn't know how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's grabbing onto his neck like he's just trying to keep it in place long enough.
Which, by the way, it's funny that he always sells neck and back damage when he's got to be one of the more intact guys for the dudes at his age who wrestle his style.
Dude, he hasn't aged a minute.
Yeah.
He still wrestles the exact same. It is absurd. Um, but yeah, uh Ishikawa eventually like buries his whole knee into Shingo's neck,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of note that Ishikawa's very calculating.
Mm-hmm.
He knows like risk reward and stuff like that, which is important.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal Russian leg sweep onto the top buckle
I
from
love that.
Ishikawa.
I
It's
love it
so
so
good.
much.
It's so good. It looks like
I
he
once I once saw an indie guy do a Russian leg sweep onto an exposed turnbuckle. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was the same spot just with an exposed turnbuckle.
it's so cool. I love the side Russian leg sweep when it's done well. Um, I kind of note that Morishima is not his character isn't smart.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a dumb brute that using his natural talents is able to batter his way through guys, no matter the
Mm-hmm.
skill level. Um, but Ishikawa is very smart and knows when to pick a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Shingo deadlift tosses Ishikawa over his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just just
easily.
just whatever. Then he does a beast lariat in the corner, and then the vertical suplex, and the whole crowd goes wild. Not as loud as Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
but like, dude, it's insane. Shingo manages to escape another Ishikawa tombstone off the apron into a northern lariat, and then does an Arena Mexico special plancha to Ishikawa. Um, kind of like how BB Hulk did it. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if that was on purpose, but I'm gonna say it is.
sure. We'll give him that.
There's some beast knees from Shingo to Ishikawa. Um, but then it gets reversed back on him, where Ishikawa just starts throwing his clubbing like elbows, just battering him. There's no The best part about an Ishikawa match is that they actually are just beating the shit out of each other, which is strange that he's aged so well.
By the way, not that it particularly matters, but the guy who hit the Russian leg sweep and the exposed turnbuckle is Jared Kripke, who's a Indiana indie guy. Shout out to him.
Sure,
He
shout
works
out Jared.
he works OVW.
Oh hell yeah, good for him. Love that for him. Drinking water.
Continue. Oh.
Um, Ishikawa dumps Shingo on the top of his head. This is deeply shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Ishikawa does a great missile dropkick. It's it's weird he's so good at the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
In the corner, I'm
There's such a
assuming
great sense of impending doom when he goes to the top rope.
it's always like he's just trying. It looks like it could go just as wrong for him because he's so awkward and big.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's super cool. Lariat in the corner, double stomp from Ishikawa. That had to suck, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
That looked shitty. Um, Shingo reverses out of the sit out tombstone mid drop into a sliding lariat, which you
Oh, it's
super
so
like.
fucking smooth.
It's so good. It's
And it
so
reminds
good.
me a lot of that reversal from the Morishima match where he just
Hmm.
knows at the last possible second how to counter.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then Shingo does an awesome Hansen style double lariat. Um, Ishikawa starts setting up for the Splash Mountain, which is such a cool move. I'm glad
Yeah.
that, and it's an insane move the way he does it because it's basically a jackknife that he just sits out halfway through.
I will note also, Shingo pulls an armbar out of nowhere. And Ishikawa absolutely sells the hell out of it and does that little thing where you start
Hmm.
like clenching your hand afterwards. And it's a nice little thing of showing that like showing finally a sign that he might be breaking.
Yeah. Um, it's if you're gonna be a big man, you're gonna have to be a little, at least a little bit of a stooge.
And he's willing to do that for basically the final third of the match where he
Hmm.
will sell that arm. He will sell the hell out of it.
Hmm. Um,
Because
I
after he will hit Shingo with a clothesline with that arm for the rest of it, he will sell it each time.
It's so good. He's so smart. What a great wrestler for a guy that has probably all the brain damage, considering
Hmm
how he wrestles. Um, they start trading forearms. And Ishikawa has this big dumb grin on his face
hmm
when they start doing the sequence. It's so good. Dragon suplex, into a Saruda knee is pretty sweet from Ishikawa. Um, I think so. My note says, "Oh, you are gonna die, Shingo." So he must have like kicked out of
Yes.
some move. Sit out tombstone. He kicks out at 1.
Yep, because fuck you, that's why.
It's so fucking nuts. Um, another sit out tombstone. Oh, not another kick out at 1. Never mind. Ishikawa screams at the crowd and hits a jackknife splash mountain and a kick out. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Ishikawa batters Shingo silly with elbows. Then there's a sweet DDT from Shingo. Then there's a gory special for some reason.
Yep.
I don't know. It gets reversed. I think that was that move being used correctly because they do talk about it on English commentary
Mhm.
for our next match. Aside from the point, great lariat from Shingo. Ishikawa thrown in this match. It seems like very impactful. Both men are very good at
Yeah.
showing that this shit hurts. Which kind of gets lost, I would say, in the BB Hulk match.
Mhm. Well, yeah, 'cause, Shingo is no selling as a creative choice, and BB Hulk is a pain sponge who exists, to be tortured for our amusement.
Yeah, the psychology that Ishikawa has about Ishikawa and Shingo selling the pain is very good. Both men look exhausted at this point. Uh, then there's a deadlift made in Japan. It's weird that
Mhm.
if I had a nickel for every time he did that, I would have 2 nickels. Both men look yet again exhausted from this absolute sprint of a match. This time a two-sided uh sprint.
Mhm.
Saruda knee lift, a kick out, and then the match ends with I it's like a fisherman backdrop suplex from Ishikawa. It gets called a giant slam, so I was tempted to describe it as a fisherman Olympic slam, but
Mhm.
it's too high up on like the neck to
Yeah.
be that. So and it's like a bridging one, which is pretty sweet. And that's the 3, and Ishikawa wins. Holy shit! What a good match.
Yeah, just given away to just a random tournament match.
It's insane. It's one of my favorite matches we've watched for this. It's awesome. I love Ishikawa. Um, yeah. Get ready for when I eventually start uploading videos and make my Ishikawa 5-match primer.
Let's fucking go.
Ugh.
So
um.
this, we're gonna move on to the
Okay.
very next year, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
give a little bit of background.
Oh,
So
this is
Shingo
next year.
Takagi, yeah, in 2019.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
well, Shingo, he signs at the end of 2018. And he, in the beginning of the year, he goes on an undefeated streak in the junior heavyweight division,
Weird.
which is funny because, like, at this point, Jay White is a heavyweight and Shingo Takagi is a junior heavyweight.
Okay. Come on now.
Um, yeah,
What
yeah,
are we doing?
yeah, and so he, um, goes on an undefeated streak until he loses to Will Ospreay in the Best of the Super Juniors final. Says, fuck that shit. I just want to go straight to the heavyweight division. And the first matches in the heavyweight division will come in the G1. And so he goes like, I believe 1-2 in
Yeah.
the first couple matches, and then he just goes on a huge losing streak. Against Mox, against Naito, Cobb, Jay White.
Lame.
And so he only has a few matches left, and I think he's already mathematically eliminated from the tournament. Um,
Damn.
and here he comes against Ishii, a man just who wrestles a one-note style.
It's a
But
great
like,
note, though.
yeah,
I love that note. I mean, I've seen so like mild background information. This isn't the original Ishii Shingo match we were going to talk about.
yeah.
But honestly, all of their matches are kind of the same.
And this
With
one's better
and this one
because it's
is
shorter.
a lot better and shorter.
Mhm.
Correct. Again, I'm not sick of either of these guys wrestling for any amount of time. I
Mhm.
love them. I love them both deeply in my heart of hearts. Um, but yeah,
By the way, in the 6 years that he's been in the company, what's your guess for how many times they've wrestled each other?
6.
7.
Damn, I was so close.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah, that's too many times though. How many times has
Well,
he wrestled like Jeff Cobb?
oh man, that would. I'll check on that in a minute.
That's probably more, right?
Yeah,
It's got to be. The Never division is so strange.
yeah. I mean, the guys who should be in the main event, but we won't put them there because we're New Japan.
I want Jeff Cobb.
He's only
I
wrestled Jeff Cobb
deserve his
3
clap.
times.
Really? Strange.
Yeah.
Strange. Anyhow, my first note is that I say guy like me is making this the main event at the Tokyo Dome.
Yep.
Um,
I will note, by the way, this is the main event of the show, which is awesome.
that is nice.
Um. And what? I will also point that this is a match that broke Dave Meltzer's brain. Are you aware of what the score is from him?
Is this a 5.5, right?
Yes, 5.5 stars.
Oh yeah. Um yeah, right up there with Horace Hogan also getting a 5-star match. Fuck you, Kurt Angle.
I love how Dave Meltzer's brain works.
It's it's so strange. I don't know why anybody takes his opinion seriously.
But love him to death.
Well, of course. I love me some Melts.
Because I was looking at what else is 5.5 stars. Uh, no surprise, it's a bunch of it's basically a bunch of Shingo matches. Few and Will Ospreay matches basically own
Whoa.
5.5 stars.
That makes sense.
Unfortunately, a Johnny Gargano match also got 5.5 stars.
Boo.
So Adam
Boo.
Cole versus Johnny Gargano, best 2 out
That
of 3
cannot be
falls.
5.5 stars. There's no way that match is that good.
So we've immediately denigrated this status.
Damn. Damn. Anyways, um, Ishii is the first guy where they both no-sell each other,
Uh-huh.
for the shoulder tackle, and then eventually they just start like running into each other demo derby style.
Yeah, and I have a feeling we'll go a little shorter on this just because it'd get repetitive. Because like if you've seen 1 minute of this match, you've seen all 22 minutes of it. You know what I mean? But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's not good.
No, it's very entertaining. Um, I think it's very cute. The story that they tell is between like, oh, it's Chosu and Tenryu. They both
Mm-hmm.
do lariats. Who's got the better lariat? Um, it's very funny that the Tenryu guy is gonna go over.
Yes, it is.
Um,
In New
very
Japan.
accurate to reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the boys start trading some strikes. Uh, another note, Rocky Romero, I love you. You're a great boy. You're doing great work in the LA dojo. Shingo Takagi was not trained, or Tomohiro Ishii was not trained by Genichiro Tenryu.
Yeah.
Stop
Shingo
saying
was.
Shingo was. Chosu, Chosu was probably like having his retirement match that year, right?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Ishii technically he started in
Oh,
War.
war.
Yeah.
Ah,
So he was around, but as I understand it, it was Chosu who did most of the training. Like Chosu
he's a
is his
Chosu guy. He's not a
yeah, is
Tenryu guy.
yeah.
A Tenryu guy is like a mean, sometimes like
Like if you
lacking.
go on to like Cage Match, it'll say he was trained by Chosu and Tenryu. But and he did start in War, but come on.
He's
Look at
not a
him. Look at every other Chosu guy.
That's a Chosu guy. If it
Mhm.
walks like a Chosu guy, I guess kind of like goblin, like crouch waddle, like a
Mhm.
Chosu guy. If he throws bombs like a Chosu guy,
He's ringside whenever another Chosu guy is having a match.
dude.
Like Great Bash heel, that
Mm-hmm.
faction.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're talking about was it a Togi Makabe match?
Yeah, it was
When
Toki
he's ringside.
Makabe versus Yuji Nagata.
Yeah, where he's hanging out there. Because that was like sort of the Chosu boy faction for a while.
Do you want to talk about the Ishii theory that we have?
Yeah.
Um,
So it's my theory that he doesn't really know in kayfabe. He doesn't know where he is, and he just wanders around. And whoever you put in front of him, he'll start to fight.
yeah. And what's even stranger is that I don't even think he knows what he's doing. It feels like he
Hmm.
goes on autopilot.
Yeah.
Um, because he has like this stone dead in expression at most times. Weirdly, they get very heated during this match. I thought there was like background history, but this is their first match together.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, during the Togi Makabe versus Yuji Nagata match, he like Ishii like attempts to quote unquote storm and attack Yuji Nagata, but if you look at his expression, he's like stone faced and just is kind of like waddling into the ring because he doesn't exactly know what's going on. I
It's
don't
very
even.
funny because the other like Chosu guys there are like actually trying to beat up
Mm-hmm.
Yuji Nagata, but if I remember correctly, he's like holding a flag and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
wandering around.
He like waddles into the ring and then Yuji Nagata just big boots him right in the face, and then he like falls over like a sack of potatoes. Very very silly. Um, but yeah, that's Ishii theory. He's kind
Hmm.
of like an ink blot test,
Yeah.
where it says more about you what you think about Ishii than it does about Ishii himself. Like, there's
Yeah.
not a lot going on with Ishii, in all honesty, but I see him as kind of like a mascot, like
Hmm.
dude who just kind of like waddles. He's like a mascot character in my head, you know.
Yeah.
He's like the mascot of every like stable he's a part of.
And my other theory is that he thinks that Shinsuke Nakamura is still in charge of Chaos and is waiting for him to come home.
He has no idea that Rocky Romero.
is the
Who
de facto leader, I think.
Who runs Chaos? Is it Chuck Taylor? Or is Chuck Taylor dead?
It's either Romero or Goto, I think, would be the leader.
Yeah.
I
Whatever.
mean, now he's main event Goto, so.
Yeah, that's the Godo.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so the boys, we'll just, I'm just gonna say it. This match is just a lot of like one-upsmanship in whatever they
Yeah.
do. If it's a suplex spot, they're gonna try and one-up each other. If
Mm-hmm.
they're doing shoulder tackles, they're gonna one-up each other. If they're gonna do lariats, they're gonna lariat each other. If they're gonna do a power bomb, weirdly enough, suddenly Shingo has a power bomb that he does as like a finish, kind
Well,
of.
there's also a combo he does, which I really enjoy, sort of in the beginning after an elbow trading sequence.
Mhm.
But he does elbow drops and then a standing senton. Uh,
So
it's so
cool.
fun every
He
time
has
he
a
does that.
great senton.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Oh, the Dragon Spirit. Is an elbow drop he does. Um, Apparently Tenryu taught him that. I don't see Ishii doing that. Ishii has this crazy power slam where it just looks like he's dropping you directly on your neck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ishii makes every move look horrifically dangerous.
Despite not killing anyone that I know of.
No, he's the most unsafe safe worker I've ever seen.
And God bless him for that.
We love him for that. Ishii starts shredding Shingo in the corner, and then oh my god, a violence party. Um, Another part of enjoying this match is Ishii and Shingo just shouting at each other constantly.
Yeah.
If I understood Japanese, I'm sure I'd find it very funny. But it's still very funny because they are just, I don't know what accent. I think it's Ishii who like rolls his R's so much,
Mm-hmm.
or and it's just
He is
"Ora!"
from the Kanagawa prefecture
which is down
near
south,
Tokyo.
down in Tokyo. So
It's in the
where's Shingo
it's in the
from?
Kanto region.
Oh, like Pokemon?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Where is
He is a
Shingo
Pokemon.
from? We're gonna
Shingo,
find out.
I can imagine Ishii as like a Pokemon. His big move is the Brain Buster. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Shingo's from Chubu, which is like right in the middle.
Ah, okay. So I could have
He's
sworn.
from like the mountain part, like
Oh,
Fuji.
okay, all right. Still, they have insane accents. They talk kind of like Kana.
Yeah, as I wonder if they're it's a rural thing or something. Because I've heard apparently that like when Kana cuts a promo in Japanese, often Japanese people can't understand what the fuck she's saying because it's so accented.
It's like listening to a dude from Louisiana speak English. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Big old knee drop from Shingo. I like how Ishii is kind of like a slasher villain where you have to hit him like a million times and then he hits like the biggest bump.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love the Ishii elbow combo where he kind of does like like the chicken dance and then he like throws the elbows.
Mm-hmm.
Um, awesome suplex trade. Ishii has probably the best superplex I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's up there.
Where he does kind of like a little bounce. It's very cool. Ishii does a bunch of little shitty kicks that are very petty. And then Ishii's ear just starts bleeding,
Yeah.
Misawa style. And it's just
Which, yeah, whenever you see most of the time when you see, there are exceptions, but when you see like blading in like mainstream Japanese wrestling, you're like, or when you see bleeding, you're like, oh, they didn't use a blade.
yeah, that shit's real, brother. Unless you're
So,
like Gabe Kidd or something or Kenny Omega.
yeah. Well, that's
Um,
nefarious white boys,
that's
doing their
true.
blading.
If you think about it, maybe, just maybe, only white boys can blade. Are you
Maybe.
thinking about it?
Think about it. I've seen plenty of Japanese death matches that is false.
Well, I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Give me some time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then Shingo does a Hulk smash
Yep.
just out of nowhere. Uh,
Yep.
so I think I say the word lariat like 50 times
Yes.
in this portion. Let me actually see the lariat count on my document.
Okay.
20 times I say lariat,
Yep.
and I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A majority of those are like at least a third are from this match. It's just
Yeah.
a lot of lariats, and it's very cool. I like me a good lariat, and these are all great lariats.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to describe in an audio format.
Yeah, and this is a issue I have with a lot of scripts I do. When I get to a sequence like this.
Like, dude, what am I supposed to say? They hit each other hard.
Mm-hmm.
They hit each other hard,
Mm-hmm.
and you should watch the match.
Yes.
Where you can find it, I cannot tell. It is New Japan.
You want to get to the
Um,
finish then?
yeah. What did I have written?
Oh, by the way, with
Um,
the hitting, this is also like throughout this G1 in general, uh, like a lot of this is Shingo being like, I'm from Dragon Gate, fuck you." So that's sort of where I took um the Hulk smash from. That's what I'm assuming.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. They do a really good job of doing the lariat trade.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they do a really good double lariat, which can sometimes look like hot steaming dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
But both men don't like jump up in the air at the same time. They just kind of like stand with it for a little bit. And then I believe it's Shingo who throws the sliding lariat
Yes, sir.
to a kick out. And then he hits the last of the dragons with the wrist clutch variation and dumps him right on his head. Uh, Obviously, I had fun watching this
Yeah.
match because I wrote, "What an awesome match!" It's a fun match. It's like watching a demolition derby.
Yeah,
Um,
the one counts towards the end are a lot of fun.
mm-hmm. They're just kicking out of each other's finishers like it's nothing. Um, I'm just having a great time. A lot of all caps from me.
Mm-hmm.
A shoot headbutt happens from
Yep.
Ishii. Insane. Uh, 3 lariats as opposed to the pussy ass Stan Hansen 2. Is pretty beast. Yeah, all I've got is shit's awesome demo derby style. The long way. What do you think?
Yeah. Like this match, hard to describe as it is good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just so fucking cool. Like it's everything you need from these two guys, and they've had this match like 7 times or whatever I said it was.
Yeah.
Um, and it's exactly what Shingo needed at the time as well,
Mm-hmm.
because he's come in and he's wrestled mostly cruiserweights at this point. He has
Mm-hmm.
wrestled junior heavyweights, and he's wrestled more of that style. He's been flipping around with Will Ospreay and trying his best to not have a bad match that's 40 minutes against Will Ospreay,
We
which is
love
difficult.
Will Ospreay now, but we
Yeah.
do not love Will Ospreay then.
Well, we still have problems with Will Ospreay now, but do love him.
Yes, his the way to quote a friend of the channel Uni, the way
Mhm.
he wrestles is very informed by his autism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
But this is what he needed. Like
Mhm.
this is the kind of matches because he had been wrestling Will Ospreay, Taji Ishimori, Dragon Lee, the Umbrella Nonce, name redacted. But he had been doing that, and then finally he gets into a G1 and he faces like John Moxley, Jeff Cobb, Ishii, Goto.
Yeah,
That's what he
yeah.
needed to do.
And then it eventually becomes his whole career, aside
Yeah,
from John Moxley,
yeah,
the whole
and
rest of his career, I should say.
yeah. The 5 years since have been him wrestling a heavyweight style versus heavyweights.
And that shit rocks. And it's awesome. I'm glad he's not doing Twink Death no more because he did that for a majority of his career.
And once again, it's like obviously guys in Japan are generally smaller than in the US, and
Mhm.
even more so than that in the US we have a lot of like, it's kind of funny how we make the distinction between heavyweight or junior heavyweight when like Bryan Danielson is a heavyweight champion, but like him putting him as a junior heavyweight is comical given the size of New Japan guys, with the
Mhm.
exception of like the Gaijin and Okada.
Yeah, right. Shit is strange.
What do you have to say overall about Shingo Takagi?
Dude, Shingo is so fucking good. This dude is so consistent. Like, if you wrestle a bad match against Shingo Takagi, it's your fault,
Mm-hmm.
not Shingo's. He's similar to like Claudio or dudes like that.
Yeah.
Roderick Strong, where like they will force you to have a good match.
Mm-hmm.
Drag you kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
Sh- Dude rocks. Love the lariat. Love all of his moves. He's smart. Yeah, shit. He's perfect.
So,
I'd take that.
so you recommend him then?
I do recommend him. That is the comment of
Shocker.
the show. Someday we'll find somebody we're actually boo boo on,
Mm-hmm.
but that day is not today because
The
it's Shingo
simultaneous
time.
difficulty is that it's hard to have someone we don't recommend who we also can like say a lot about.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like interesting bad people. It's just like it's kind of like, yeah, this guy kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways,
With unless you have anything else to say, then we can end the pod.
um, love yourself, love your friends. Um,
Like the video if you support the killing of Shinzo Abe.
he said it, not me. Um, I'm excited to see Hiroshi Tanahashi in April, and I love my friends, and I want to thank my mom. I want to thank my dad. I want to thank my